Welcome back. You are listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Oh, I'm excited. Here we go. I have been teasing this the whole show, and now we have here in studio CEO and stylist, should be, CEO of Oak Mortgage Group and super fashionable guy, Holden Thomas. Holden, welcome to the show.
It's good to be here, Andy.
I can tell. Very good. He's so calm and cool, like the Fonz here. Hey. And then also CEO of Rising Tide Consulting, Jason Sherman. Jason, thanks for being here.
Thanks. Honored to be here.
Yes. I'm happy to have you here. And we're keeping Gabe around, but I'm having him on mute. So if he wants to talk, nobody's going to hear you.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, I guess the mute button doesn't work. That screwed up. So Holden is, I told you, I guess it was last week, that I was very excited to make a move to Oak Mortgage Group. And they're a very innovative company. They're cutting edge in so many ways, and in how they relate to the customer and how they want to change the way that homeowners, that you experience homeownership, experience the process before, during, and after. It's not just about closing of the home. It's everything that happens before and after you're in the home, and management of that mortgage, and helping you really have a memorable and enjoyable experience. You know, I've been passionate about that for a while, and there's so much more to it. And Holden, I want to appreciate your vision. Yeah. And I think that's what draws a lot of people to you and has drawn them to you over the years. But what got in your craw that there was something wrong in the mortgage industry that you needed to do something about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that having been in the industry for a while and seeing the crash come and lending changing a lot. And, you know, I came face to face with a lot of issues in the industry that I didn't feel good about for the sake of the consumer. And so I think I got passionate about seeing the consumer being taken care of. And I think with the crash, a lot of people were taken advantage of. A lot of people ended up in situations that weren't the best for them. I just think that there was not good leadership in the industry. So I was excited about trying to influence the industry in a positive direction, something that really at the end of the day benefits the consumer and really is built and tailored to the needs of the consumer rather than tailored to the needs of the owners of the company, the shareholders, or Wall Street. It's thoughtful of the average homeowner. So that's kind of where I got started in really trying to create a vision that starts there with the consumer experience.
And I think that one is a noble idea. And I think that our government is actually, they say they try to do that. They create all these programs and they create HARP and HARP 2 and they do all kinds of, make all kinds of acronyms that you don't understand. And unfortunately, maybe even through the best intentions, they don't work. And that's been proven over and over again. And I think one of the reasons is it needs to be done on the lending level. It has to be done on the individual mortgage company level. Regulations can only go so far, and what they've actually unfortunately done is made it harder on the consumer, created more paperwork, involved more compliance, shut down companies, driven prices up, and made more ambiguity. And so what I get excited about and align with what you've done, Holden, is you've seen a vision and created a way and are in that process now of figuring a way to get away with to do away with that and cut through that, even though we have to deal with it in our environment. And still put the consumer first, the homeowner first. Yeah. And so what do you see now? Because there's a ton of mortgage companies out there, man. Now, what do you see happening in the next few years on the landscape of the mortgage industry?
Yeah, I mean, I think I see what changing is. There's a lot of, with the regulation you were speaking of, the government came in after the crash and tried to, increase regulation in an effort to protect the consumer. But I think that it's had an actually negative impact. The intention was to protect the consumer, but a lot of the effects of that have led to just a more convoluted process. A lot of companies are afraid to get into the mortgage space because they don't know how to. They're afraid of navigating all the regulation. They've increased net worth requirements. Other companies don't have the money to get into the space. And so who's going to really come in and figure out how to help the consumer navigate through this? And so somebody's really got to step up. Companies have really got to step up. And what I see is an aging of the mortgage industry. There's not a lot of new blood coming in the industry, and a lot of the companies are getting older, and a lot of the leadership is starting to retire out, which has created a void of leadership in the industry, and especially I think leadership that really cares about the customer experience, really cares deep down about helping educate the consumer, about acting as an advisor and a guide to them. You have a lot of groups out there that want to just churn a bunch of loans through, but I think that people, companies that are really coming in and trying to understand how can we simplify this process and help a lot of the pain points that consumers are experiencing. I think there's a void there, and I think that people are going to have to step up, and I think the industry is going to have to try to attract back good companies that look to the best, look to the needs of the consumer, and want to provide a service that the consumer wants and needs.
You're listening to Tuttle Talk here on the Real Estate Radio Network, talking with Holden Thomas, CEO of Oak Mortgage Group. And Holden was actually a loan officer. He'd been a loan officer, a very successful one, early in his career, and then decided he wanted to didn't like the way it was being done. Decided to do it right himself and started his own mortgage company back in 2007.
2006.
2006. Good time to start a mortgage company. Right there, a couple of years right before the financial crash hit.
Yeah.
But and stayed with it. And what I find interesting, and you talked about this, and you call it the old guard, and I think it's true. If we're just honest about this, let's be honest. Most of the mortgage companies out there, they've been around for a long time. We've talked about this. Mm-hmm. They've got all these CEOs from these other fallen mortgage companies, and they say that's a plus. So we've got these guys that are honestly tired, wanted to see a payday 6 years ago, a big one, didn't happen, and so now they're doing whatever they can to the best they can for the consumer, but not over them being able to retire at the next boom and getting out. And so it makes it difficult to put them first when it's like, okay, I want to fight for you, but not over how much I want to retire and get out of here. Mm-hmm. So let's be real honest about this. You guys are young guys. And one of the guys you brought in that I respect a ton is Jason Sherman. Jason Sherman, CEO of Rising Tide Solutions. And I think you'll love this. I find this so cool and out there, but in the face of the norm, did a great thing. So he had this company, Aspen Heights, right, Jason?
You're correct.
And so it's student housing. And you created some really beautiful, gorgeous homes for kids to live in.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, they were like naysayers, like, dude, you're spending way too much money. This is not going to work. These homes are too nice for these kids. But you did it anyway, and you've turned that into a $600 million company. Is that right?
Roughly, yeah. That's about how much we've developed since 2006.
How did you do it?
That's a great question. We started with a similar strategy that Holden's taking on the mortgage space, which is beginning with the consumer in mind. And oftentimes in real estate, the people are simply driven by the numbers of the pro forma and how to make them work. We took a reverse psychology and said, we want to know what students want. So we actually went to campus and interviewed 1,500 students to learn about their living experience. And then we customized the product to the needs of the customer. So oftentimes people see these big houses, they think they're nicer than they need to be, or students won't pay the money for that. And we felt very confident that with those focus groups, we had the information of what students wanted, what the primary customer wanted. Another big part of our strategy was building around the customer's experience. We looked in the real estate industry and couldn't find anyone to benchmark that we respected. So we said, who's the best? And we literally went to Ritz-Carlton's headquarters and talked to some of their executives, looked at some of their operation manuals, and said, we want to be the Ritz-Carlton of multifamily real estate and figure out how to create a true world-class customer experience. And those two approaches of really knowing the customer and mapping the product to them and building an experience, a game-changing experience where students are talking about it and bringing their friends in, the results were pretty powerful. I mean, our first year, we were pre-leased 9 months in advance before we even had started construction.
And it went on from there. It blew up from them. That's huge. Pre-leased. You were ready to go.
And this is in the middle of one of the worst recessions we've ever seen for real estate developers. And our ability to attract the customer and give them such a good experience gave us a huge advantage to get construction debt to be able to continue to fund a building and allowed us to grow significantly through the worst time possible. We started our first building in 2006. So think about how much that world has changed in getting funding and what it takes to do that. Most of our competitors weren't able to keep up because they couldn't get the financing.
That's right. And that's going to happen again. And now you've taken that. Holden has now taken. This is why I love this company so much. And I'm so excited for you and for me, is that now he's taken that concept and what's already been successful, and now he's going to bring that to the mortgage industry. And they're so innovative and they keep going. No one's going to be able to keep up now. And that's what's so exciting about this, because when in a highly regulatory environment that we're in, that you've seen, and you've seen us in not just mortgage and in finance, but in all areas of your life, you need someone that can cut through that and help you and be your advocate that is competent enough to get you through it. And the landscape is going to change in the mortgage industry, and you need to be with a company that is going to help you be and have a prosperous future. And that's why I'm here, and that's why you're going to love working with them and with us. And that's why I wanted to bring him here today. So now that Jason is with Holden, there's something else. So this is going to come, and this company that they're building that's been around is going to be the trendsetter mark my words, of how the mortgage industry and how the relationship between the mortgage lenders and realtors and homeowners, how it's done. This is it. And so keep watching for that. But one thing I want to talk about before we go to break here, we got about 1 minute in this segment, maybe a little more, is something that's very passionate in my heart. I've been able to go on missions. My dad was a missionary, been able to go to Africa and these other countries and help people in abject poverty. And here in our own backyard, there's a lot of people that need help too. We've been able to do that. But you had a passion for it, Jason. You did it with Aspen for Africa in Aspen Heights. A powerful thing that got the community involved for the right reasons. And now you're bringing that to Oak for the Oppressed. Holden, talk to us a little bit about Oak for the Oppressed.
I think that in the same way that in lending we wanted to look to the needs of the ultimate consumer, I think that in a lot of the research that we did in trying to build out this vision was looking at the needs of humans. And what we found was people's engagement with a job, a big part of it was feeling a sense of purpose in what they're doing. And I think a lot of people spend a lot of time doing work every day, and they feel like they're making money, they're helping their family, but a deep sense of being able to help the world and being able to give to other people, a lot of people don't feel that sense. And so what we wanted to create was that there was something at the very core of Oak that was about the best of humanity, about helping the poorest of the poor. And so Jason had an initiative with Aspen Heights called Aspen Heights in Africa that with every house that was leased, they were able to provide education and housing for children in Africa. And, Jason and I, me as well, I've had a big heart for missions. I've been around the world doing that. And that was just part of the DNA already of Oak. We have a lot of people who have a big humanitarian background or missions background. And so weaving that into Oak seemed like a no-brainer. So we started looking at possible avenues of what could we do. And so we looked at kind of a one-for-one model, which would be for every loan that we're funding, we're giving something away. And what we looked at was an idea called microlending. And microlending is built on the understanding that you make a small loan of maybe a couple $100s in a third world country, and you help someone to start a business. So you're basically giving, rather than a handout, it's kind of a hand up. It is helping to empower people to lift themselves out of poverty. In a lot of ways, that really connected with the vision and the values that Oak has. And that's something that we're very, very excited about, feeling like as Oak grows and expands and is successful, that we're seeing the poorest of the poor actually rising with Oak.
I love that. It's a great story. It is a great purpose for a company. It's something I am on board with. I know everyone that works with you and for you and knows you is on board with. I want you to get on board with that too. It's a great thing, and it's I got to tell you, when I'm looking at doing my business somewhere and hanging my hat as a loan originator with a company, I want to be a part of someone that's doing that and putting their money where their mouth is. If you want to be a part of that too, whether you're buying or you're selling, looking to refinance, or you just want to get connected with another real estate professional or financial professional in the area, get on board with us. Call me 469-319-0660, 469-319-0660, and we will take care of you. I will get you today. Don't forget, you can also text the word TALK to that number. We're going to get you the free utility analysis, get you set up for that TV gift for Christmas from you gave the utility concierge, or not a free TV, but get your gift package ready for giving those gifts of TVs, and get on board with us being passionate about helping you create a better, more prosperous future, using your mortgage as a financial instrument that can help you create wealth over time. There's a right way to do things. We want to help you do it right because your family is involved in that. Generationally, there's an impact generationally. So we want to help you, and we want to talk to you. So you can reach out to us, facebook.com/Tuttle Talk as well. We are here for you. Coming up, you want to hear this story. Colonel Kim Olson, been given service in the military for over 25 years. Now she's giving back to women who are coming from the military and integrating them back into civilian life. It is not an easy thing to do, but she's got a heart for it, and she's going to show you how to get involved and why it's so important that you do. Next.